As your superintendent, I would like to thank you for being a part of Family School Community Partnership. We know that when family members, parents, community members are involved in the educational programs and process of our children, that it makes a critical difference in their academic progress as well as their social emotional growth. Thank you also for taking the time to review the Volunteer Handbook. The Volunteer Handbook will allow you to become trained volunteers and to help us to provide safe, healthy, and high-performing schools for every child.
Welcome to the Family School Community Partnership Volunteer Training of Ventura Unified School District. My name is Adela Trainer, and I will be your guide as we go through this training session together. Before we get started, you should have in front of you a training packet that includes a training booklet so that you can follow along with the training or refer to it at a later date as needed. A variety of handouts that will support the topics we will be covering. An access instruction sheet, login ID, and password for the Armadas training that will complete your volunteer training. And if you haven't done so already, please remember to complete and submit your volunteer application. While parents are typically very involved in their children's elementary school education, Ventura Unified School District recognized that parent involvement dramatically declined at the middle and high school levels. We also recognize that parent involvement is just as important to the social and academic development of teens as it is to younger students. Now, whether you are new to volunteering or have minimal time to give, or are a seasoned volunteer with a regular volunteer schedule, your efforts are an important, positive influence to student achievement and an essential contribution to our district-wide team. Through Ventura Unified's commitment to building strong relationships that support student achievement at all levels, a Family School Community Partnership Committee was created. Based on the philosophy that education is everybody's responsibility, the committee developed the Family Community Involvement Board Policy, which is included in your packet. It's Board Policy number 6021A. Now, we're about to introduce you to some educational theory. Some of you are probably wondering why we are spending your valuable time going over theory when all you want to do is chaperone a field trip or help in the office. The ideas and theories that we will cover with you are like the foundation of your house. They support everything we do as a district and community to help children succeed. Without a strong foundation, what we do as volunteers or as educators has no clear purpose. Once you understand the underlying theory, you will be able to volunteer with confidence. You will have the answer to not only how to volunteer, but why volunteering is so important. Research supports that students are in fact more successful when families, schools, and the community work together. By their collaboration efforts, students improve achievement scores, grades, attendance, behavior, and post-secondary planning. Adolescents are more likely to avoid risky and negative behaviors if there are greater connections to their families and schools. Partnership activities create safer schools. Curriculum-related family involvement, such as interactive homework, helps students improve academic skills in specific subjects. High-performing schools inform and involve parents and community partners as a planned part of their programs. Parents become more involved and influential in their students' education and affect positive outcomes. Student achievement is enhanced by parents' meaningful involvement. Your training packet includes several research-based documents which show how family involvement benefits students, parents, and teachers. The Family School Community Partnership Program is modeled after Dr. Joyce Epstein's research at the Johns Hopkins University. Dr. Epstein has identified 6 types of involvement that are keys to successful partnerships. A dynamic 7th type was added by the Parent Center of San Diego, where a team of parent volunteers received several days of training based on Dr. Epstein's work. The team brought back tools and resources to build a partnership model right here in Ventura Unified, beginning in the middle and high schools. The foundation for Ventura Unified's Family School Partnership model is based on these core beliefs: that all parents have dreams for their children and want the best for them, that all parents have the capacity to support their children's learning. The parents and school staff should be equal partners. The responsibility for building partnerships between school and home rests primarily with school staff, especially school leaders. Let's go through a brief description of the types that are the keys to successful partnerships. You will find supporting handouts for each of the types in your packet. Type 1, Parent Support. This type focuses on assisting families with parenting skills, understanding child and adolescent development, and creating a home environment that supports children, as well as assisting schools in understanding families. Some examples of Type 1 activities in Ventura Unified School District include tips and resources from your children's teacher or school site, programs such as parent academies, the Parent Project, or Positive Parenting, and many resources and tools made available through the Parent Resources link on the district website at www.venturausd.org. Type 2, Communicating. This type involves communication with families about school programs and student progress through effective school-to-home and home-to-school communications. Type 2 can also include effective communication skills when advocating for your child. When teachers and parents and students and other community members view one another as partners in education and have a system of effective communication, a caring community forms around all students and supports student achievement. Also, when parents and teachers are on the same page, sharing information and goals, accountability for achievement shifts back to the student. Type 3, Volunteering. This type focuses on recruitment and training of family and community members as volunteers and participants at schools or at other locations to support students and school programs. This training session is a good example of a Type 3 effort. It doesn't matter what your educational level or background is. There are plenty of opportunities for everyone. When you volunteer, you are telling your children that they are important, which builds pride, success, and shared values, and you make a difference, not only in your child's life, but in other children's lives. Type 4, Learning at Home. This type is about involving families with their children in learning activities at home, including homework and other curriculum-related activities and decisions, and connecting parents with tools, resources, and strategies to support learning at home. An example can be as simple as providing tools such as pencils, a calculator, or providing a ride to the library to do research, or attending a parent workshop on skill-building strategies for math. Of all the types, research shows that Type 4 is the most effective for improving student achievement. Type 5, Decision-Making. Type 5 recognizes the importance of families and communities' participation in school decisions that impact education by joining PTAs, PTOs, school councils, action teams, district committees, and other parent organizations. Type 6, Collaborating with the community. This type is concerned with connecting community resources and services for students, families, and schools with businesses, agencies, and other groups. Schools and students also can provide services to the community. Community support of education is vital and currently needed more than ever. Our community has tremendous resources in our businesses, service organizations, agencies, and individuals. In Ventura, we are fortunate to have the Ventura Education Partnership, or VEP, a nonprofit foundation dedicated to bringing community resources to support the Ventura Unified School District. Type XO. Building strong relationships has the foundation of the first 6 types. Expressions of appreciation, recognition, and celebration events are examples of relationship-building practices. Did you know that the 3rd week of April is designated as National Volunteer Week? These practices are important for establishing positive collaborations between the home and school, for building a sense of community, and serve as gateways to more dynamic types of involvement. Remember to take a moment to read the valuable handout information that is included in your training packet that supports each of the types. A list of these handouts can be found beginning on page 5. Our philosophy of volunteer participation is based on these types of involvement. The common thread that ensures success is the idea that when people feel liked, valued, and respected, they collaborate more readily. Building relationships is based on a three-part joining process, where the school community welcomes parents and the community into the school and the education process, honors their participation and recognizes their contributions, and connects with parents through a focus on children and their learning. Developmental assets, building blocks to student success. The Search Institute, an independent nonprofit organization, has identified 40 positive experiences and personal qualities that young people need to grow up to be healthy, responsible, and productive adults. The assets are spread across 8 broad areas of human development. Assets in which the community can have an impact include caring neighborhoods, adult role models, youth programs, and creative activities, and by the way, volunteering at school. While reviewing the 40 developmental assets materials located in your packet, take a moment to think about which assets you experienced when you were growing up. Can you remember a teacher or an adult that made you feel valued? Your memories of those who made a difference in your life are the best examples of modeled developmental assets. The 7 types of involvement and the 40 developmental assets are a perfect complement. You, as a volunteer, as a parent, and community member, have an incredible opportunity to practice these skills that will benefit all of our kids. A Family School Community Partnership resource binder should be available at your school site in an accessible location for your school community. This wonderful resource contains important information regarding your school site and district that every volunteer should review, as well as containing resources for families. Value of volunteers to academic success. So why do we volunteer? What difference are we making? Well, most importantly, volunteers directly contribute to our children's academic and social success. When the community is engaged in education, it sends the message to our children that they are the top priority in our community. In these tough economic times, it is even more important that we bring together all of our available community resources. In addition, volunteers gain a greater appreciation and knowledge of our youth and public education. And finally, as a volunteer, you bring your energy, talents, and passion that benefit all of our children. As parents ourselves, we thank you. Sample volunteer opportunities. Whether you have 5 minutes or 5 hours, there are many ways that you can volunteer your time and passion both on and off campus. Your educational level or background doesn't matter. There is something for everyone to do. If you see a need that is not being met, offer your services to the school site. And remember, your school's parent organization is a great way to get connected to your school's volunteer program. Volunteer orientation. The purpose of this training is to provide a consistent and clear understanding so that volunteers are aware of their limits, policies and procedures, and to know where and when to seek assistance. It is our goal that trained volunteers will feel confident and assured after participating in this course. Keep in mind that each school site may have its own variations of the protocols and procedures covered in this training. Check with your school site supervisor for further clarification. Discipline or behavior problems. As a school volunteer, you are likely to notice students disobeying school or classroom rules. Your primary responsibility is to call such matters to the attention of the teacher or other supervising school personnel. Check with your supervisor for their specific disciplinary procedures. Guidance. It is important to us that you feel comfortable and confident in your volunteer role. Your school site should provide a clear definition of your tasks and the school protocol for volunteers. You should never hesitate to ask for clarification or guidance when you're in doubt. Volunteer standards of conduct. It is important to the safety of the school community that all volunteers act in accordance with the Ventura Unified School District policies, regulations, and school rules. This section provides guidelines to help you be an effective volunteer. Confidentiality. One of the most important considerations of a school-based volunteer program is the preservation of student confidentiality. When dealing with students, you will undoubtedly overhear, witness, or participate in seemingly unusual, amusing, or confusing incidents. You may be tempted to discuss these experiences with others. Please don't. What you hear and observe about students, families, and staff while volunteering in a school is confidential. Repeating a seemingly harmless comment can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and you may inadvertently compromise the privacy of our students. For schools to provide the best environment for learning, everyone's privacy must be respected. Volunteers are held to the same confidentiality standards as staff employed by the Ventura Unified School District. Child neglect and abuse reporting. School volunteers should report any suspected child neglect or abuse. If you suspect child abuse, immediately inform a member of the school staff. To become fully certified as a Ventura Unified School District volunteer, you are required to complete the online Armada's Child Abuse Awareness Training. We have included in your packet a password and access instructions so that you can complete the training independently. Professionalism. As a school volunteer, you are a role model for students. Behave towards students and school staff in a respectful manner that sets an example of professionalism and good citizenship. Please treat everyone as you would have your child treated. Boundaries. Keep your boundaries with students clear. You must set limits in your relationship with students. Your purpose as a volunteer is to act as a role model for students, not as a friend. Do not discuss details of your personal life, transport students without authorization, or disregard school rules and policies. Dress code. When chaperoning an off-campus field trip, please wear shoes and clothing that will be comfortable and appropriate for the planned activity, and practical in the event of an emergency. Volunteers should dress for a school or business environment. Please do not wear clothes that carry a sexual or offensive message, reference the use of alcohol, tobacco, or drugs, or are gang-related. Language. Just as we expect students to refrain from using inappropriate language while at school, we also expect the same from teachers, staff, and volunteers. Most adults realize how easily children model our language. Keep in mind that slang terms may be offensive to another adult or student. Phone use. Remember to silence your cell phone during the classroom volunteer time. When you are in a common area, make sure that phone conversations do not create a distraction or disturbance for students, staff working in your vicinity. Children. Your volunteer time is very important to the school. In order to be the most effective in your volunteer role and to minimize disruption to the school, please avoid bringing young children during your volunteer time. In an exceptional circumstance, please contact the site principal. Punctuality. As a volunteer, our students, teachers, and staff are depending on you. Whether you are volunteering on a regular basis or for a one-time project or event, arrive a little early so there is time for communication and direction. Be sure to let whoever is supervising your work as a volunteer know when your schedule changes or if you can't attend when you are expected. Commitment. Honor your volunteer commitment. Your school and the students are depending on you. Restrooms. Please use the restrooms designated for staff only, usually located in the office building. If you determine that adult assistance is needed or there is an emergency in a student restroom, please notify a staff member immediately to avoid any potential liability for you or the school. No alcohol or tobacco. Schools are tobacco and alcohol-free zones. These substances are prohibited on campuses. Injuries. If you get injured while volunteering, it is important to report the incident immediately to the office manager, even if you believe the injury is insignificant. Security. School volunteers must abide by all Ventura Unified School District security rules. Volunteers must sign in and sign out at the main office at each visit. Volunteers and visitors should always wear a name badge when on school campuses. In the event of an emergency, it is very important for the school to know the names of all volunteers currently present on campus. The name badge also identifies a volunteer as a responsible person during an emergency situation. Safety. Familiarize yourself with the school site emergency response plan, procedures, and responsibilities. For your safety and the safety of our students and staff, you will be expected to follow all procedures. As an adult on campus, your assistance is critical. There are 3 primary areas of safety procedures. Disaster preparedness. In the event of an earthquake, remember to duck, cover, and hold on. Reassure others and know where the emergency kit is located. During a fire drill, locate the predetermined gathering spot for your area and report there immediately during the drill so that you can be counted. Make sure that all windows and doors are closed when evacuating an area. If you are on campus during a lockdown, know the site alarm or announcement for a lockdown. You may find yourself in an area that must be locked until cleared by the authorities. It's important to remain calm, help keep students calm and quiet, and lock all windows and close the curtains. These very important procedures can be found in your school site's FSCP resource binder, the school site plan, and posted in every classroom. Health. If you are sick, it's better to stay home than to come to school and potentially infect others. When you are volunteering at school, you can help protect yourself and others by practicing effective hand washing often. Some conditions or situations that warrant referring a student to the health office include illness, student not feeling well, vomiting, fever, repetitive cough, or suspicious health conditions. First aid. Superficial skin injuries may be taken care of in the classroom by cleansing with soap and running water. Students with puncture wounds need to be sent to the health office for evaluation, cleaning, and bandaging. Suspected sprain or fracture, burns, fainting or feeling faint, head injuries. Supervision. All volunteers perform under the immediate supervision and direction of school staff. Volunteers should know and follow school policies and rules and feel comfortable in asking for guidance if in doubt of the appropriate course of action. The ABCs of customer service. Attitude, behavior, and communication are the ABCs that create a customer-friendly school that welcomes and serves the community. As a volunteer, you represent the school and have the opportunity to enhance a positive environment for others. When you volunteer, come prepared with a good attitude. Behave in a positive manner. It motivates others to do the same. Practice good communication skills. Put a smile in your voice. When providing quality service, you create loyalty and trust. Customer service is about reliability and it's about relationships. Do's and don'ts. Here's what volunteers should do. Volunteers should ask questions or share concerns, use positive communication, honor, respect students, parents, and staff, enjoy what you're doing. Smile. It makes a difference to students. Accept students in terms of their backgrounds, their values, manners, and vocabulary. Ask if you need more instructions in order to perform a task. Agree on a method of communication such as email or a preferred phone number with the teacher, ambassador, or program coordinator with whom you are working. Enjoy the students. Refer students with emotional or educational concerns to appropriate staff members. And be yourself. You bring unique talents and experiences when you volunteer. Volunteers should not discipline students, diagnose student needs, evaluate student achievement, discuss student progress or concerns with parents, provide transportation without the completion of a field trip or emergency card authorization by students' parents. Decide if policies are good or bad. They are designed to keep everyone safe. If you don't understand, ask your principal, in private, to explain the rationale for the policies. Giving your time and showing that you care sends a powerful message to every student that education is important. You have an impact on students and adults alike. Areas of volunteer participation. The three primary areas of volunteer participation common to all school sites are classroom assistance, clerical support, and supervision. Volunteer guidelines for classroom assistance. Listen carefully to the teacher's directions so that you know what students are required to do. Do not do the work for students. Be dependable. If you cannot keep a commitment, contact a staff member or activity coordinator with whom you have the commitment as soon as possible. Follow cell phone etiquette. Be prompt, respectful, and courteous. Be familiar with the discipline and classroom policies. Volunteer guidelines for clerical opportunities. Remember, when greeting guests in the front office, you may be the first impression of your school site. Make it a positive one. Determine site phone etiquette when helping answer phones. Be sure to identify yourself as a volunteer when answering the school phone. For example, "This is Cabrillo Middle School, Mrs. Jones School Volunteer speaking. How may I help you?" When assisting in the workroom, be sure to ask questions if you do not understand what is expected, or if you are not sure about machine operation. It is better to ask questions than to potentially waste paper or crash a machine. If you are filing, ask for clarification if you are unsure of the proper filing procedures. For example, should student permission slips be filed by student or teacher name? Give teachers and other staff right of way when using the copy machines. They may be in a hurry to get to their next class. Volunteer guidelines for supervisory roles. As a volunteer, you may be expected to supervise students' field trips. It is important to remember that you are taking responsibility for all the students in your group. Monitor your group at all times. Be sure you know which students are in your group, and don't allow students to switch groups. Know what steps are expected in case of emergency and where to access first aid materials. Maintain behavior expectations. Know what the discipline procedures are while you're off campus. Keep in mind that these expectations may vary depending on your location. For instance, the behavior expected at the beach would be different than that expected at the Museum of Tolerance. Inform the teacher of any behavior concerns. Follow all time constraints. Be where you're supposed to be at the correct time. Remember, you are a role model. Follow the rules. Let students know in a pleasant but firm manner that you expect responsible behavior. You may also be called upon for supervision on campus, on the playground, in the cafeteria, or at an assembly. Your primary role is to observe students to ensure student safety and appropriate behavior. Each school site may have a different preferred response to certain situations. Ask your school site supervisor for further clarification. Some schools have adopted a specific common language that all staff use for directing student behavior, which you should learn and use. Here are a few of the kinds of situations you may want to inquire about. Student profanity, smoking, bullying, physical or verbal fighting, volunteer checklist for all roles. Be familiar with the building layout and parking facilities, what is expected of you as a volunteer, and what to do if you are absent. Emergency procedures, including earthquake, lockdown, and fire drill. What to do if you witness inappropriate behavior. Whether supervising a field trip, working in the classroom, or on campus, you may find yourself in a situation where you witness inappropriate behavior that can range from verbal to physical, and in varying levels of intensity. You will be required to think quickly and respond appropriately as a volunteer. First, remember that you should never discipline a student and never get into a power struggle. Second, secure staff members' help in accordance with the school's discipline plan. Third, and most importantly, remain calm and employ effective, positive language when resolving the situation. Effective communication is the key to resolving disciplinary issues. Be sure to read Influencing Appropriate Behavior, a Helpful Toolbox handout included in your packet to guide you with effective communication. Resume building. An overlooked perk of volunteering is the development of a set of skills that could enhance your resume. Many people think that just because you do not get paid for what you do, that volunteer work is not real work. Nothing could be further from the truth. Most employers don't care whether you get paid or not. It is the experience and skill set that matter. A sample resume is included in your packet. This volunteer stopped working for a paycheck when her family was young, yet she gained lots of employment-relevant experience while volunteering in various capacities. Notice that she did not just list her positions, rather, she described her accomplishments in detail. A volunteer log sheet is also included. It is easy to forget just what you did as a volunteer. The log sheet will help you remember. There are spaces for dates, a description of work performed, the time that you put in, the school site and your supervisor, whether it is the principal, a teacher, or the parent organization president. Don't be shy. Ask for a letter of reference for your files before you move to another school. Another tip, keep a notebook in your car. Write any mileage you accumulate when you volunteer. Include trips to and from school for meetings or to the store for supplies. You would be surprised at how quickly those miles add up. Also, keep receipts for any copies or supplies for which you are not reimbursed. At the end of the year, you may have a nice tax deduction, but be sure to check with your tax advisor. Congratulations! You will soon be a graduate of the Ventura Unified School District's Volunteer Training Program. Once you have finished your self-paced Armada's Child Abuse Awareness Program, you will complete your certification requirements. You can review any section of this training DVD or refer to your training booklet in your packet as needed. If you have not done so, please complete a volunteer application form.